Smart Labs and the news this week. Um, Last week in labs, if you missed it, we were working on voice and getting rid of AI fluff in our newsletter as we infinitely work on. Um, we added some adjustments to the voice to get rid of that AI sound. It's interesting because we get the voice dialed in and really good, and then the models change and we have to do it again. So definitely a place to still keep humans in the loop is any copy output because we we run these every week and we see changes. It might last and stick and be good for a few months, and then we might have to update it every week for a while as these changes happen. Um, and still, our number one requested service is AI strategy and consulting. And in a strategy, we work with a whole team and help to pick tools and the projects to tackle, the order to tackle them in, and how we want to do that. And looking at team capacity, budget, security, AI use policy, all of those things, taking it into consideration. And we love to get in your business. So if you need any help with that, let us know. Um, and Publishers are taking Google to court over how Gemini was trained again. This is a new lawsuit where a group of major publishers say that Google trained Gemini on millions of copyrighted books. And there has been a lawsuit like this before, and the authors won, or the publishers won on that one. And, this is saying that Google stripped out copyright information to hide where the material was coming from, and it points to an internal Google note that had allegedly warned that the practice could cost the company tens of billions in fines. Um, and I think all of us need to look at the models that we're using and the information that we're taking and how we're using it with AI. Just because we can get the information doesn't mean that we own the rights to it. So it's good for your entire team to know how to use AI and how not to use AI, what information is okay to put in there or not. And Satya Nadella is Microsoft's CEO, and he said that he published a warning saying that companies that use AI, you'll be paying twice. Once the money for usage, and the second time is in the private business knowledge that you feed the model to make it useful. And his point is that the big labs can learn from the data and end up competing with their own customers. And he's saying that open models are already picking up traffic. So close to 29% of the requests routed through one of the popular developer gateways increased last month. Like it went up 29%. And so it's warning you about proprietary models and that it's not a neutral observation. So if you have a model that you're using, it's connected, it's not self-hosted, then that information can be used by the company that owns the model for their own business. And you definitely want to read the vendor terms, conditions, privacy policies before setting something up and understand if your information is used as training data and can be accessible by the AI company or if it's private. It's and you can get self-hosted models that will never connect with the internet and are completely private too. And this is an even bigger trend as it's easier and easier to do. MIT students built a working jet engine with AI copilots. So at MIT, 31 students formed teams and got 4 weeks to design, build, and test small jet test a small jet engine. Many of these students have never seen the inside of an engine before. Most of them probably hadn't. They used AI copilots through a single platform that pulled together several different models, and the winning team fired a working engine. And the organizers found that performance lined up with how far along the students were in school. And of course, we all know this, the real skill was in judgment and not typing prompts, but being able to take the outputs, use your own discernment, and see if it matches up or is accurate. Um, and so the person who understands the problem the best will likely be the winner. And so you have new students or new employees who don't understand the problems as well. Their outputs are not going to be as good or as valuable to the organization. So judgment, human judgment is still very, very important. And they showed this by building a physical jet engine, which is pretty cool. Another MIT story is researchers at MIT and Toyota Research built a system called SceneSmith. It uses 3 AI agents to create detailed 3D rooms like kitchens, garages, and it's where robots can practice chores before they ever run into them in the real world. The rooms hold about 6 times more objects than older rooms or methods, so robots get a lot more to work with, and it cuts the slow, costly trial and error of testing in real space. So they're doing more virtual testing. Waymo does it with their cars too, and simulating different environments on self-driving cars. So it's no surprise that these, robots would be using virtual environments to practice on first. And I would love them to come over and do my laundry and clean my kitchen. That would be fantastic. And I imagine there will be a few broken dishes in the process. AI companies are growing revenue faster and faster. There's a batch of AI companies that reported that their revenue is not just growing, but it's speeding up. Anthropic said that its run rate reached about $47 billion, up from roughly 30 billion only 2 months before. And some of the older software companies are also writing this too. Clio is an 18-year-old legal software maker, and it hit 500 million in recurring revenue after adding AI, and Gusto crossed 1 billion. So it's interesting to see this. And if anybody is using Claude, using Anthropic, you may also notice that you are using more tokens, you're paying for more tokens. They've enticed us with models like Fable that cost more. And so it's no doubt that these companies' revenue is going up and going up faster. They used free before, and now we're all in this freemium. I don't know, we got caught in the net and we're using these products that are costing us, and we like the newer models because they do better and we're willing to pay more for them. So while they lost money at first, now they are making a ton of money, and that is accelerating fast. Our tool picks for the week. We've got one that's not a tool, it's their AI use policy, because so many people are asking about this. We've got a link to our internal and external AI use policy, and you can, start with that if you don't have one. Take a look at it. And Snitcher, which identifies website visitors, gets emails and allows us to trigger outreach automations. So we can turn this anonymous traffic into leads. And our workflow and SOP creator, we have a gem and custom GPT that is a free tool, and it helps you map out workflows and write your SOPs, or improve workflows and SOPs, or help you to decide where AI automation and humans live in this process. And it's a tool that we use all the time on our internal workflows and SOPs. So there's a link, and it's free for the workflow and SOP creator. And if there's anything that you would like us to cover here, please let me know. And we'll see you in the lab next week.